seeds out of the melon.
Are you ready to start this? Okay, this is Jody Royak, and the first episode of Creatives at Royak Studio. My first guest is one of my best friends. He was a world champion skateboarder in the 70s. He was a homeless drug addict in the 80s, but now he's a father, a motivational speaker, and he owns a halfway home trying to help men turn their lives around. This is Dennis Martinez.
Hey, Jody, how you doing?
I'm good. How you doing, brother?
Good.
So you nervous to do this, or you good?
I'm never nervous.
You're one of the best speakers. When I first saw you do one, it was great. I mean, I was impressed by how you work the crowd and how you do things.
But then it's different when you get behind the camera and it's just you and the mic, and you have to say a certain line, and then you kind of choke a little.
That's when you blow it.
Take 57. Just kidding.
87, 95. Except for when you laugh a lot. That
Yeah.
one clip that Cindy loves.
Oh, I know. I can't remember what I was laughing about.
I don't remember either, but it was super funny.
I wasn't the only one laughing. I could hear you in the background.
No, that was you because you had a mic on. That was you wheezing also when you couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Maybe I'll play that in right here.
What did you just say? He died. Everybody was laughing.
So everyone knows about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so like brief history of just what I talked about in the 70s, skateboarding.
Okay, the 70s in skateboarding, 1977 World Champion, 1978 U.S. Skateboard Champ. Prior to that, being a young kid, 12 years old, making a decision to become the best skater in the world. And how many kids at 12 years old really know what they want to do? Maybe a little handful, but how many really go on to accomplish what their goal was and their dream was at 12 years old? And I'm one of those, I guess you would call it rare cases that, what I dreamt about and what I pursued and what I became.
Cool. And like what I was talking about, this show is about creative people. It could cover any form like art, photography. Being skateboarding is very creative. Skateboarders are some of the most creative people I know. I mean, there's so many artists out there. What aspect or approach did you take to being creative in your skateboarding at that time?
Well, it is a sport, and a lot of people might say something different, but skateboarding is a sport and really an individual sport. So each person develops their own creative style, creative tricks, and creative music, and combining it all together when you compete in competitions. So everything's creative. When you make a trick up, you've created something.
Did you make up any tricks?
Some people would say they did, but I'll stay away from that topic just because people will make different claims and stuff like that, and they can say what they want. But the people that know, Skateboarder Magazine gave me the front side air. Other people probably did it before me, but
You told me you'd invented the McTwist.
oh, I did. I would have to let Mike Miguel know that.
What was the hardest trick for you to learn back then? What do you remember? It was like just difficult.
Okay, kickflip on vert,
Really?
the very hardest trick.
You were doing those back then?
Yes,
Now, was it a real kickflip, or were you doing this where you put your foot on the side and flip it?
real kickflip.
Really?
Yep, old school, original kickflip, out of the pool and back in.
Really?
Yes.
Where did you first do it at?
Spring Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the Soul Bowl.
Yeah. Now, was that the one that had the love seat in or whatever that thing was
Yes.
there?
Yes.
Now, would you, and I don't remember, was it like transition so you could pop off that onto the wall, or was it, I forget exactly
Well,
how.
that was before your time. You weren't born yet. No, I'm just kidding.
I skated there, but I mean, I think I did scumline cars back then.
Okay, so the deep end, as everybody knows, had a kink.
Yeah.
So that kink kind of pushed you over vert. But the pool, it's 7-8 feet deep.
Yeah.
And today's pools are 12, 13 feet deep with about 4 feet of vert versus that. But that was, it was quick.
Is that the pool that you got knocked out at or whatever in the first contest?
Yeah, the first contest I was knocked out, and even being knocked out, I think I placed 10th.
Do you remember what you were doing when you got knocked out?
Front side air, and I landed. My truck's hung up.
Yeah.
And there's pictures of me where my eyes are swollen, and I'm completely knocked out, and I didn't want to go, and they took me away in an ambulance, and the contest Hester Series wouldn't let me come back and skate until I got looked at, and of course I had a concussion.
Yeah.
And it was a good thing that I got looked at, but I looked at those pictures, Jody, and both my eyes are completely swollen, like they look like they were the size of tennis balls on each one.
Yeah. How old were you then?
I was 17, 18 years old.
That's the one Salva won, right?
Yes,
First pool contest ever, wasn't it?
correct. I think that was the first time I ever saw Salvo too. I
Yeah.
mean, what a great competitor.
He's still killing it.
Yeah.
What did you like better? Because like you freestyle, which was like street or whatever, and vert. Did you like both the same, or did you like one better than the other?
Well, I like both the same, but one's different than the other.
Yeah.
You know, the vert is a rush.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like, your heart's pounding. But freestyle, I believe the concentration for me was a lot harder because, your routines are different. And, for us to do trick after trick after trick, you can't do that in pool.
Yeah.
You have to wait and hit the other wall, and then you come down and wait. In freestyle, it's constant. You have a short amount of time, just like you do in the vert, but you have to, put a degree of difficulty of tricks together. And same thing in vert. They're pretty much similar, except one's a little bit quicker. I think freestyle flatlands faster.
Yeah.
If you watch freestyle, it's one trick after another, after another, after another, after another, after another, after another, after another. In pool, you have that wait time till you hit the other side of the wall. You have to figure out what trick you're going to do, and then you're up in the air. So there's a lot of time wasted in between there. As in freestyle, it's constant, one after another.
I remember seeing, I think some guy who's okay at skating made a comment about you. I think his name's Rodney Mullen. Didn't he say something about you?
Yeah, in my movie Dope, Death or Prison Eventually.
Yeah.
Rodney, had said something when he saw me. He said that he knew that this was the real deal. It's kind of funny when coming from Rodney, you know what I mean? Everybody knows my two favorite skaters is Jay Adams for vert and Rodney for flatland freestyle. I mean, he's just the king.
Yeah, he said something like he's I couldn't even do what you do. Like he didn't think he could. So how'd that make you feel? Hearing that from like one of the best skaters.
Well, he made me feel good because I know he could, because Rodney's that type of skater. You know what I mean? He's humble.
But he looked up to you back then, so.
Sure. At that one point, he saw me in Florida and he said, "Yeah, this is where West Coast came out to meet East at the U.S. Open. It was a great contest, and everybody knows when you hear like, have you seen this new and up and coming guy?" And everybody talked about Rodney, and he was the new and up and coming guy.
When did they start talking about him?
Man, quickly, 1977, 78.
Yeah.
I would say 1978.
Yeah.
You started hearing about him. So when you start hearing about somebody like that, and then they're saying, "Man, he's doing this and this," and you're like, "Okay, what do you mean he's doing this and this and this?" And you've never seen it before, and this kid comes out, takes your trick or somebody else's trick, and then takes it to the next level.
Yeah.
And the creativity behind Rodney is he's just.
That's another level.
Oh yes, he's a deep thinker. I love him.
Yeah, I've met him a few times and just like
Great guy.
Incredible person. So world champion skater. Then how'd you like fall off the planet and become like a homeless drug addict?
Easy. The fame.
Yeah.
When I was 12, I said I wanted to be the best in the world, and so I watched what the pros were doing. I won't mention their names. They all know who they are. And so if that's what it meant to be a pro, to be a champion, then that's what I was going to do. And so that was my peer pressure. I came from a good home. My parents, my mom and dad stayed together forever. And, they, we had dinner at a certain time you had to be in before the...
You were blessed for your family.
Yeah. So when the street light came on, we had to be home to eat or we were in trouble. But as a family, we ate dinner together. So you don't see that much these days. Yeah. But in my home, it was like that. And my parents were very supportive of me. And now they think maybe they should have been a little bit more stricter on me and keeping me contained. But they saw the acceleration of me of something that I love to do. And they weren't going to stop me. I mean...
So I remember we visited the bridge that you said you lived under at times. Mm-hmm. Would you ever remember back, like, how did I get here? You think about like your skateboarding days, me traveling the world, doing stuff, and then all of a sudden you're like under a bridge. Did that ever sink in, or were you too far gone?
I was too far gone, but I already know how I got there. I know the mistake. The one.
But I was wondering, did it ever think of like you just shake your head like, I can't believe I'm here?
I did that all the time.
Yeah. So how do you get past that?
I'm gonna have to say God.
Yeah.
Because it's the only thing that pulled me out of the the muck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to spend too much time on the negative stuff. But now, like I said, now that got you're a chaplain now, and you own a halfway home. Is it a halfway home? You could consider it's a residential treatment program. And it's for men coming out of prison and people in trouble trying to turn their lives around, like have been in situations that you're in.
Yes.
Now see, that is a creative thing to do. Yeah. So how did that come about?
Well, I fell in love with the prison system because a lot of my friends went to prison. My little brother went to prison. One of my best friends got 678 years in prison. So it was kind of like all I kept hearing was prison, prison, prison. And so when I hear that voice, after getting my life to God, and I hear that voice and getting clean and sober and I can think correctly, it was a tug on my heart. And so I started working inside the prisons, and I started hearing the cry of what they needed when they got out. And so I have this funny saying, and people laugh all the time, but it's true. I love drugs so much, I bought a drug treatment program. And it's true. Still to this day, I love drugs so much, I bought a drug treatment program because that's how strong drugs are.
How hard was it to get that going, up and running?
At the very beginning, it was hard. But again, when you have people that believe in you and you're a hustler, you're creative, you know what needs to get done, how it gets done, then you start to put it together and you put the work together. With hard work, you see the results.
Very cool. So, and now with that, like doing that, getting off drugs, turning your life around, you're skateboarding again.
Yeah, how about that?
How is that?
Good. My good friend Jay Adams is the one that got me, what's that saying he says? You didn't get old because you quit skateboarding. You quit skateboarding, you got old, or something like that.
You didn't quit skateboarding, got old. You got old because you quit skateboarding.
Yeah, that's saying that Jay said.
We'll drop that in right here.
Yeah.
You're never too old to skate.
You didn't quit skateboarding because you got too old. You got too old because you quit skateboarding.
That was me.
That was like I said, we did a lot of stuff with Jay.
Yeah.
Filming stuff. What a unique character.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he is definitely one of a kind. And some people try and say, "Oh, he's overplayed," stuff like that. He is so himself. He's one of the most original people I've ever met.
Creative.
He does not care what people think. He is him. He doesn't try to act a certain way. He's Jay.
Okay, and let me tell you about him, and you'll agree with me. I watch a lot of skaters, and I basically know what they're going to do when they drop in because they do the same thing over and over and over.
I'm guilty of it.
With Jay, you just never knew what he was going to do.
Yeah.
He didn't do the same run. And the other person that's like him, pretty close to him, is Steve Olson.
Yeah.
He just, you know what I mean? You just don't know what he's going to do. And between those two guys, they're pretty creative.
And it's like they're both artists.
Yes.
Now, the day Jay died.
Mm-hmm.
But wait, before I want to talk about that, you know what I remember? Remember when they opened up Venice Skate Park? Remember we brought Jay there?
Yes.
Dude, that was a zoo. He was like the king of the place, walking up. Even then,
Yeah.
I mean, even after everything, that was a pretty incredible thing to see. But so I really remember that day. But now I remember the day he died.
Mm-hmm.
I was blown away because he went through your treatment facility.
That's the reason why he came from Hawaii. He
Yeah.
asked me, he says, I need help, and I'm falling into a deep, dark place, and I need help. So, because of the credibility of my facility and with parole and probation, we were able to get a state transfer, from Hawaii to California, and brought him back over here. And as you know, you did a lot of filming with me and Jay, and then when we went to Venice, like you said, it was like,
That was awesome.
the guy who created skateboarding, that's what people think. So when he showed up, everybody flooded and flocked him, and and loved on him.
So now that you're back into skateboarding, and now you have your own skateboard company,
Yeah.
tell us about that.
Flying Aces, like right here.
Now, why'd you pick the name?
Because that name was given to me in the early 70s, like end of 1976. My brother, he would watch me skateboard.
Which brother?
Johnny Ray.
Mm-hmm.
He would watch me skate, and he said, "Dude, you're the Flying Ace." And so I became the Flying Aces, and being on GNS, they gave me my first signature board, Flying Aces. And still to this day, everybody loves that logo that was created back in the day.
Now, when you went to Vera Flex after that, correct?
Correct.
Now, was that a Flying Aces board or no?
It was the Flying Aces board, but they used this Ace of Spade, and they put Martinez on it. They didn't want to get it too similar to what GNS had. I liked that board too, but it was creative. It had 4 rail bars, on the bottom.
Yeah.
So at that time, everybody had 2 rail bars, and here I am trying to be creative. I had 4.
Yeah.
And the way they set it up, it looked really good on the bottom.
Okay, now let's talk about the boards you're making now. They're beautiful.
Yeah, they are.
Well, now, let's see what you got.
This one right here. This right here.
Yeah.
This is koa wood. This is exotic wood.
Yeah.
And very rare to get.
Mm-hmm.
And all my boards like this are one of a kind. So being creative, when I say one of a kind, the wood and the colors that are used, that takes a lot of time. I'll take color patterns and I'll say, okay, on this board, what colors would look good with that? And so I lay it out, and then I started picking the colors and putting that together. And each one of my boards are all one of a kind. That's why I can ask more for it. And the good thing about this, Jody, about being an art piece, as you can see here on your wall, you have a bunch of art pieces hung up on your wall. 99.9% of the people that buy
Oh, and by the way, this is brought to you by Blink Picture Hangers, the best picture hangers ever.
That's right.
Lets you hang pictures. You've used them, right?
Yeah.
They're the easiest thing.
I mean, everybody knows how hard it is to hang pictures.
Yeah.
At my house, I hung them all up like within a couple minutes. I was completely done. Didn't have to waste my day, get frustrated, and throw the picture away.
Have you seen the skateboard hangers?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. You can hang now. It's an application to hang pictures of skateboards up the same way.
Oh, I was going to put everybody else out of business.
So yeah, there's a link below if you want to go to get some Blink hangers. They're the best.
So these 99.9% of people that buy my boards won't skate them because they're too beautiful. And every time they do, and they say they're going to skate it, they send me a picture and it's up on the wall. So it makes me feel good to have a piece of artwork up on the wall.
It is sometimes you wish they would skate it, or you're happier that they're not riding it.
I'm happier they're not riding it because I love my boards. If I could keep them all, I would.
Yeah.
But you can't.
Yeah.
You know, the whole purpose behind the company is people want a piece of your, piece of your history, piece of your art, piece of your company, and so I love it.
Let me see that other one you got.
I really love this one a lot because it's different.
Oh, that's beautiful.
There's only one of that kind also like that.
What kind of wood is that?
I can't remember right now, but I love it.
It looks like canary wood.
The cat that ate the canary. Yeah.
Well, canary has that pattern. It has some slight coloring to it. I mean, I work with wood, but I'm not an expert. That's, to me, I think that I could be completely wrong, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, I like the color of the burgundy up there. It kind of matches the stain, like right here.
Yeah.
And I like that it stops. It didn't come on the whole bottom of the board. It kind of went 3/4 of the way. Kind of makes it unique. And there's a few pieces of these that I just won't give up. These are a couple of them right here. I have a little archive that I will keep. So when we do any type of art galleries or anything like that, I'll break these ones out as the display.
Yeah.
To let people see like the difference between my boards and other boards that are out there. Definitely, if you were to put my boards up at any skate shop and you would pick mine out immediately, you could see mine. Mine would stand out because all other boards look alike.
Yeah.
They all look like a popsicle board with a million graphics on it. But you put something simple and clean like this, it stands out, and people like that.
One of my favorite quotes is by Leonardo da Vinci. Simplicity is the ultimate form of sophistication.
Yeah.
I love that. Jim made these, right?
Yeah, over at Watson Laminates.
Yeah.
Jim is very creative. He tells me, okay, what is your idea? What are you thinking? And let's create it. And so together, this is the finished product.
Do you have any of your original boards, like from this, like Flying Aces, 70s, 80s, or Vera Flex ones?
I don't, because my drug addiction allowed me to sell everything that I had, including my World Championship Cup.
That's crazy.
Which I ended up getting back.
That's even crazier that you got it back.
And years later, for the audience that don't know, I sold my World Championship Cup that is deemed priceless. And I put a price on it because the drug addiction got so bad. I sold it for $500 worth of dope. Actually, I told them to hold on to it for $500.
Yeah.
But in reality, 15, 16, 17 years later, that's what I paid. That's what I sold it for $500. Tom Turner, and I want to say his name because when this whole ending happened, I ran into him at a store, K&L liquor store down in Marina Boulevard, and I got out of the car, and as I'm walking, I saw Tom, and it's that feeling where you seen a ghost.
Yeah.
And I'm a pastor now. I'm clean and sober. My life has changed. But then that old Dennis kicked in where I wanted to bow my head down and walk away and not confront this. But God was telling me, he says, go over and apologize to this man. Go over and make amends. And so I did. I walked up to him, and he had a smile on his face. And I just couldn't understand what that smile was about. And as we began to talk, we both spoke at the same time. And he goes, no, you go ahead, Dennis. And I put my hand out and asked him. He shook my hand, and I asked him, I told him I'm sorry for what I did. And, I had no intentions of paying you back because of my addiction, and and I needed the drugs. And he goes, I know. He said, but I have something for you. He says, I've been holding it all these years. And so what's the chances? There's no coincidence with me and how God works.
Not at all.
Coming in and running together at the same time. He walks me to the back of his car. He opens up the trunk, opens up the box, and pulls out my cup. And he says, here, this belongs to you. Then he explains to me, he says, I heard that you changed your life. You gave your life to God. Well, I just recently did also. I'm diagnosed with cancer. I have less than 2 months to live, and I've been looking for you for years to give you back your trophy.
Wow.
And he says, I want you to give this to your mom. And so my trophy is with my mom. And
No, that's right.
yeah.
How did that make you feel though when he had it? What did you think?
I couldn't believe it. I was like, I looked up and I said, God, you never cease to amaze me, ever.
How many years from when you sold it to got it back?
16, 17, I think, approximately that many years.
Because in your mind it was gone.
Oh, it's completely gone. And those was one of those regrets. You're like, you kick yourself in the butt.
Yeah.
You know, and I look at all the people that have all their old boards saved.
Yeah.
You know, and they have their history saved. And some of my history has been given back to me by people say, hey, Dennis, I got this piece, man. You want it? Sure. They give it to me. So I have a collection now, which will be given to my daughter.
Yeah.
When it comes time to pass everything over to her.
I love that your mom has the cup.
See
That is
that?
the best.
Yeah, and I have to beg her to take it if I'm going to do some type of
Makes you sign it out.
speaking engagement and stuff like that. But she just lets me know, hey, that's mine. Make sure you bring it back and take good care of it. And she's got this nice velvet cover, you know, to cover it. And every so often we'll pull it out and we'll clean it and shine it up and everything like that. So it's
Because
cool.
we are both mama's boys for sure.
Absolutely.
Totally.
Yep.
All right, so one thing that you brought a T-shirt in, right?
Yes.
And so here's one thing we're doing is that one part of this is like being creative is that I want to open an art gallery. It's going to be a very specific kind of art gallery. It's going to be about having T-shirts in it.
Okay.
Have artwork on the wall, but there's going to be T-shirts because not everyone can afford art or is in the market for art, but everyone can support art. So over here, I have over 200 vintage and unique T-shirts that we're going to let you pick one, and as you trade one in, okay?
Okay.
So let's do that.
All right.
All right. Now let me get this. Hang on, boy.
This thing was just ringing off the charts.
Okay, so where's your shirt that you're giving?
Right here.
Nice. Okay, so put that over your shoulder. Now flip through this. Look at these fun shirts we have here. Look at all this. Find one that you like.
I think I'm going to take this one right here.
Which one's that?
Thor.
Let me see.
And the reason why I'm going to take Thor is because my daughter loves Thor. And I know you do too.
That's right, boy.
I know this is one of your favorite ones.
So take that shirt off and put yours on that hanger.
Okay. And no, you can't have this shirt back.
I shouldn't have put that one out.
Yeah.
No, that's what part of this is for, man.
Yeah, my daughter's going to love this. This one's cool. I knew I was going to find that one that I wanted to find. Let me show you again. So, she loves Chris Hemsworth.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, that's it, Dennis.
All right.
Thanks for coming by, man.